Hey, what's going on, friends and family? Welcome to another episode of the JMART CAST. This is John. What's going on? How are you, friends and family? Screwed up my opening intro there. That's all right. Hope you guys have had a good week. My week has been good. Been to jiu-jitsu twice this week. Practiced some foot sweeps earlier. Foot sweeps are fun. It's kind of like back in Mortal Kombat. You guys remember playing that game? You could do like foot sweeps and like trip people. It's like doing that in real life. Except I was sucking real bad at doing them when I was practicing in class, and I couldn't like turn my foot to kind of sweep the person properly. And so my coach was getting a little bit pissed off with me. So he ends up like getting me to sit down and puts a piece of tape to the bottom of my foot and puts another piece of tape to the side of the opponent's foot. And he's like, put the two pieces of tape together. Come on, turn your foot and make the bottom where the tape is touch the side where the other tape is for the other person. It was a bit of a funny idea, but it actually ended up working pretty well. After I had that, I don't know why I was sucking so bad ahead of time before that, but once I had the tape on the bottom of my foot, I was like very much more aware of how to turn my foot to execute the foot sweep properly. So anyways, that was one part of the week. Let's see what else happened this week. Oh yeah, something pretty exciting. I won a contest randomly on Twitter, of all places. There was one of the Bitcoin companies that's going to be participating at the Bitcoin conference happening in April in Miami, was doing a contest for a free ticket to the conference. All you had to do was like and retweet one of their tweets. So I did that thinking that there's no chance I was going to win. And then randomly I got contacted by the company and they sent me a ticket. So now I have a ticket to the Bitcoin conference in Miami. It's happening April 6th to 9th. So I was pretty doped. I didn't think I was going to be able to go, but now I have a free ticket. So I ended up booking flights and accommodation. Pretty excited about that. I'm very happy and very blessed to be able to go because my parents stepped up and agreed to do some babysitting while I'm away. I'm going to be away for like 3 or 4 nights. So very grateful for that, for the opportunity to go, for the parents who are willing to step up and help me while I'm away. So pretty awesome. Thank you goes out to my mom and dad. Thank you goes out to my awesome wife. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I can't wait to go. There's going to be some awesome speakers. The president of El Salvador is going to be there. Jordan Peterson is going to be there. Big fan of his, of course. A bunch of other speakers as well, many of which I've just kind of only recently have learned about through kind of just learning about the I guess the more popular people in the Bitcoin circles. Anyways, I'm pretty excited to go to Miami. I ended up getting the cheapest flights and accommodation I could get. For accommodation, I'm staying at a hostel. I'm booked a bed in like a 6-bed dorm room, mixed dorm room. That was the cheapest thing available. Luckily, the hostel is right close to the convention center where the conference is going to be. And it's also pretty close to the major street where a bus can drop me off from the airport. So looks like I have my stay pretty well figured out. And yeah, gonna go to Miami, gonna soak up a little bit more sun, make a whole bunch of new acquaintances, hopefully, in the Bitcoin network. And yeah, it'll be an exciting adventure. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm pretty excited that I have the opportunity to do this. Yeah, who knows? There'll be some exciting announcements, I'm sure. Maybe there'll be a new country that's announced as one that will accept Bitcoin as legal tender. That'll be exciting to be there for that. And then there's also a music festival happening on the last day of the conference. So that'll be a lot of fun. And deadmau5 is going to be one of the main performers at the festival. So I'm a huge fan of deadmau5, of his music. So that's going to be awesome to go for not only Bitcoin, but also for a music festival with deadmau5. All in all, I'm pretty happy with the month of February, or not February, sorry, what did I say? February, the month of April, and how it's stacking up. Yeah, anyways, what else? There's been a lot of Bitcoin news happening last week. The first one that was a pretty big shocker was that there was I don't know how accurate this is, but there was a report coming out of Russia saying that there was like a higher up ranking official that was saying that for their sale of oil and natural gas, they're willing to basically accept all sorts of payments, whether that be payment in rubles, like their own currency, in yuan, the Chinese currency, and they also even mentioned Bitcoin. So potentially they would accept Bitcoin payments for their natural resources, which is a crazy thing for them to say, to admit. But that's what we've been speculating from the start. So amazing to hear that. Another thing was Exxon Mobil, a huge oil company. It was released that they're mining Bitcoin with flared gas emissions. That's a pretty big deal because there's basically a lot of methane gas that would otherwise be just released into the atmosphere. So rather than doing that, they are burning it and converting it to carbon dioxide, which is a less extreme greenhouse gas. And then the energy is being used to mine Bitcoin. So it's not just simply wasted and not simply burned. So I think it's a net benefit in two different ways: diminishing greenhouse gas emissions and then also using that energy for something productive. All right, I'm recording this on a late Sunday night, so I will keep it even shorter than normal this week. I'm going to move on to the part of the podcast where I read a random thread that I found online this week. Just something fun and interesting to go over and discuss, and we don't necessarily know if any of what I'm reading is true or not, but it's interesting to read and discuss and think about, so let's go ahead. Today's thread is from an account called Cook with Chris. Cook, he's got 3 O's in there instead of the regular 2. So if you're looking for him on Twitter, COOK with Chris. All right, so this thread is a thread about digestion, how it works, and how to optimize it. So this is very important because eating the right food is not it's not the most important thing. We also need to have a healthy gut that can absorb what we're eating, right? Because if it's not absorbing it, then whether you're eating the right thing or not does not really matter, because it's not getting inside of you to help you grow and regenerate your body. All right, so this person in his thread starts off with saying, proper digestion is vital for nutrient absorption, energy production, waste release, and much more. The problem is, due to lifestyle, modern environment, and lack of knowledge, poor digestion is very common. In this thread, I'll take a look at how it works and how you can improve it. All right, Mr. Cook with Chris, let's see what you got to say. All right, he goes on to say, digestion is the process, both mechanically and chemically. He must have meant to say digestion is the process of both mechanically and chemically breaking down food so that it can be absorbed in the bloodstream. Yep, it begins when the food enters your mouth and you begin to chew. Definitely, chewing is one of the most important ways of breaking down food. Took me a while to learn that. I'm not gonna lie, I used to not chew food very well and swallow it, and it's not a good habit. Definitely recommend chewing food meticulously and being very mindful as you chew, paying attention to the flavor and texture of the food that you're chewing. That's one of the best ways to actually enjoy food more and also help improve your body composition by just simply focusing on chewing. All right, the thread goes on to say, your teeth start to grind down food and your saliva begins to digest starches and bind chewed food into a slippery bolus that easily slides through your esophagus. No digestion actually occurs in the esophagus, but it will then enter the stomach for more breakdown. Glands in the stomach lining make stomach acid and enzymes, and the muscles of your stomach mix the food with these digestive juices. Your small intestine, the first compartment after the stomach, makes digestive juices and mixes with juices produced in the liver and pancreas to complete the breakdown of food. Bacteria in your large intestine then break down the remaining nutrients, synthesize vitamin K, and turn any waste products into stool. Right. So the majority of the absorption actually happens in the small intestine. All right, the thread goes on. He says, as you can see, there is a lot that goes on into digesting your food and turning it into nutrients that can be absorbed. If one part of the process is off, you will not be getting the most out of your food. Your digestive system also plays a vital role in protecting your body from harmful substances. That's right. So if you think about your intestine, it's like this tube, right? And it's actually this connective tube that goes all the way up to your mouth and goes all the way down to your anus, right? It's this continuous tube. And you can almost think of the inside of that tube as separate from the inside of your actual body. You can think of the inside of your body as like the inside of your flesh, but the inside of that tube that goes through the inside of your mouth and through your stomach and intestines and through the anus, you could think of that as almost as like the outside of your body, right? It's not actually inside, and there's an inner lining in that tube that protects the inside of your body from that outside, where there's actually bacteria and all these colonies of bacteria growing. So there's this syndrome called the leaky gut syndrome, which has become extremely common, which is when gaps in the intestinal walls allow bacteria and toxins to be released into the bloodstream. This causes chronic inflammation. And as we all know, inflammation is bad. It's not good for your body, especially chronic kind. So the good news is there are many things that can be done to improve your digestion and thus to improve nutrient absorption and overall health. Here they are. Number 1, eat real food. It sounds obvious, but the more processed foods and additives you consume, the harder it will be for your body to digest them. Many of these foods will cause gut inflammation and increase the chance of leaky gut. Number 2, manage stress. When you're stressed, your body doesn't think you have time to rest or digest. Blood and energy are diverted away from your stomach during times of stress and negatively impact your digestion. That's right. We need that blood to be diverted towards the intestines in order to allow for optimal and efficient nutrient absorption. If we're stressed, then we're just not going to be as optimal at doing that. Things like meditation, breath work, exercise, magnesium, and theanine. I haven't heard of theanine. Maybe it's good, but I'm definitely in agreement with magnesium and the other things mentioned: meditation, breath work, exercise. All can help during times of stress. Yeah, maybe I'll do a little bit of research on theanine and talk about it, but I'm not as big of a proponent of theanine as the other things mentioned. All right, going on. Number 3, probiotics. These beneficial bacteria help by breaking down indigestible fibers that can irritate the gut. Kefir, sauerkraut, kombucha, and kimchi are all great sources. Fermented foods also contain enzymes that can help break down food. Yeah, I'm a big fan of kefir. I have it every day. I feed my son with it. Highly recommend. I used to brew my own kombucha. Sauerkraut and kimchi, I have every once in a while here and there, but I'm not as big a fan of those. Just taste-wise, it doesn't jive with me, but if you like it, go for it. Number 4, bone broth and glutamine. The collagen and gelatin in bone broth, as well as glutamine supplementation, can help repair the intestinal wall and therefore reduce risk of leaky gut. Yeah, I'm a big proponent of drinking bone broth. I've started to drink it a lot more regularly recently, do it at least once a week, and I think I'm not complaining. I do like it. I enjoy it. You can make it taste pretty good too, which is nice, and yeah, I think with regards to glutamine supplementation, I don't really do that myself very much, but I'm pretty sure bone broth is supposed to have a lot of glutamine. So that kind of takes care of that. So you don't necessarily have to do glutamine supplementation if you're doing bone broth, I think. Anyways, moving on. Number 5. This is going back to a point I mentioned earlier. Chew your food well and eat mindfully. Yeah, this is a very important point. You put these two together because they usually go hand in hand. You know, in today's modern environment, most people are scarfing down food very quickly while also scrolling through their phones and doing work on the computer. The more you chew your food, the less work your stomach has to do, and the easier it will be to break down the food. So it's really important to really, chew as much as you can before swallowing food. And of course, eating mindfully means you're taking your time, you're turning off the screens and actually consciously eating, which is very rare these days. Number 6, stay hydrated, but avoid drinking tons of water with food. This is an interesting one. I used to not really think about this too much, but it kind of makes sense if you think about it. Being hydrated with proper water and mineral intake is vital to make sure everything is flowing smoothly. And dehydration is a huge factor of constipation. However, if you're chugging a lot of water with a meal, this can dilute the stomach acids and digestive enzymes, making it harder to digest food. So perhaps it's best to drink water before the meal or sometime after. All right. Lastly, we got 2 more points here. Number 7, fix your posture. Poor posture can compress your organs, including the GI tract, resulting in poor digestion. Slouching can actually push stomach acids in the wrong direction, causing acid influx. Interesting point. I'm not sure I agree with this one as much. I mean, I don't know as much about this. It kind of makes sense if you think about it, actually. But, I think movement in general is good. So, and I do believe in, correct posture for certain function. So it's believable. I don't have a lot of personal experience with this, and I haven't read a lot of books about this, but it makes sense, I suppose. And lastly, supplementing with digestive enzymes. If you're struggling with digestion, supplementing with digestive enzymes can help break down the carbs, proteins, and fats. Papaya enzymes are a good natural source. Interesting. I hadn't heard of that. This is another thing that I don't necessarily know about. I'm just reading what's on the internet. If anyone knows about this and wants to write me in and let me know, if you've heard anything about this, if this makes sense to you, if anyone's ever told you anything about papaya enzymes and whether they're good for digestion, let me know. While you're at it, by the way, take a second to give the podcast a rating on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. Please, it doesn't take very long. You don't have to write anything. Just give me a good 5-star rating and get back to your day. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. By the way, if you have any questions you'd like me to answer, if you have anything you want to interact with me about, please get in touch with me on social media. You can hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at jmartfit. I use Facebook as well, J-Mart Moves, but the other 2 are the ones I'm more active with. All right. With that said, I think we will end the podcast there today. What did you think of that thread about digestion, how it works, and how to optimize it? Is this the kind of stuff you guys are interested in? Do you like listening to me read these threads and kind of give my take on them, give my reaction and whatnot, share my experience about what I think is true and what is not from what I'm reading? If you do, please let me know. That's the only way I will know if this is the right format for the show and whether to keep doing it this way or whether to change it up. So appreciate any and all feedback, my peoples. So we'll catch you next week. Until then, you stay active, be grateful. J-Mart out.